Imagine planning a simple vacation or business trip to the United States. You've saved up for flights, hotel stays, maybe even shopping, and then, suddenly, you're told to deposit $10,000 or even $15,000 just to get a visa. Not as a fee, not as a penalty, but as a refundable bond. Yes, this is real. A new immigration rule, introduced by the Trump administration, is shaking up the world of international travel. Under a controversial new program that launched in August 2025, the U.S. government is now demanding that travelers from certain countries pay a hefty bond, ranging from $5,000 to $15,000, before even stepping foot on American soil. This new visa bond program is already being called one of the most aggressive immigration policies in years. Officials say it's about national security, reducing visa overstays, and keeping America safe. Critics argue it's discriminatory, unfair, and economically devastating to travelers from lower-income countries. In this video, we'll explain exactly how this new rule works, who it targets, why Trump's team brought it back, and most importantly, how it could affect you or your loved ones. We'll also share expert insights, real traveler stories, and what this policy means for the future of global tourism and U.S. immigration. Let's start with the basics. The visa bond rule was originally proposed during Trump's first term in office, back in 2020, as part of his broader America First immigration agenda. But the plan was shelved due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the 2020 presidential election. Fast forward to 2025. Trump is once again dominating headlines with a renewed push to tighten U.S. borders. And now, the visa bond program has officially launched as a pilot scheme starting August 20th, 2025. Under this program, certain travelers applying for B-1 business visas or B-2 tourist visas are required to submit a bond of $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000, depending on their visa risk assessment. The bond is refundable, but only if the traveler follows strict conditions. If the traveler leaves the U.S. on time, through the designated exit airports, and doesn't violate visa terms, the bond is returned via pay.gov. But if there's a single misstep, such as overstaying even by a day, applying for asylum, or trying to change visa status, the U.S. government keeps the money. No refund, no exceptions. That's the heart of the controversy. Critics say it punishes law-abiding travelers and creates a two-tier visa system. One for the rich, who can afford the bond, and one for the rest, who simply cannot. Now, you might be wondering, who exactly is affected? As of now, only 2 countries have been named: Malawi and Zambia. These African nations were selected based on their historical visa overstay rates and diplomatic cooperation issues. But this is just the beginning. U.S. officials have already hinted that if the pilot program is successful, it will expand to more countries. And that's where things get serious. Nations like Nigeria, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, the Philippines, Egypt, and Nepal, all of which have had high overstay numbers in the past, could be next in line. Let's look at the numbers. According to U.S. Department of Homeland Security data, over 500,000 people overstayed their visas in 2023. India alone had over 14,000 overstays. Nigeria's overstay rate was alarmingly high. Bangladesh and Pakistan also made the list. These numbers have fueled political arguments in Washington, especially among conservative leaders like Trump, who claim that visa overstays are a major threat to national security and economic stability. The bond program, they argue, is a simple solution: force people to follow the rules or lose a large sum of money. But opponents say this policy is not just about rules, it's about money and politics. Think about it. A traveler from Zambia planning to attend a trade expo in the US is suddenly told to deposit $10,000 just to get the visa approved. That's more than what many people earn in a year. It creates a massive barrier to entry, especially for students, entrepreneurs, and tourists from developing countries. Even more concerning, it sends a message that people from certain nations are inherently untrustworthy, simply because of where they were born. Human rights advocates are already calling this rule discriminatory. Travel industry experts are warning that it will damage U.S. tourism and international business relations. Meanwhile, U.S. embassies have quietly started implementing the policy, leaving thousands of visa applicants confused, worried, and, in many cases, unable to afford the bond. And let's not forget, this bond is not part of the regular visa fee. It's an extra cost layered on top of existing visa application charges, interview costs, and travel expenses. So, how does the process actually work? Here's the step-by-step breakdown. First, the traveler applies for a B1 or B2 visa at a U.S. consulate in their home country. During the interview, the consular officer has the discretion to impose a visa bond requirement based on the applicant's profile, country of origin, and perceived risk of overstay. The officer then determines the bond amount, usually $10,000, but it could be as low as $5,000 or as high as $15,000 depending on the case. The traveler must then pay the bond through an online U.S. government platform called pay.gov. Once the bond is paid, the visa is issued, but with strict limitations. It's a single-entry visa valid for just 3 months, and the traveler is allowed to stay in the U.S. for a maximum of 30 days. Moreover, the traveler must enter and exit only through designated international airports, currently Boston Logan, JFK in New York, and Washington Dulles. If the traveler leaves on time through the correct airport, the bond is refunded electronically. If they don't, game over. The U.S. keeps the bond and flags the individual in its immigration system. This raises a crucial question. Why now? Why is Trump pushing this policy in 2025 when global travel is just beginning to recover post-pandemic? The answer lies in both numbers and politics. Trump has long campaigned on reducing illegal immigration, and visa overstays are a major part of that issue. Overstayers account for nearly half of all undocumented immigrants in the U.S. Unlike people who cross borders illegally, visa overstayers enter legally and then simply remain past their deadline. By requiring a financial bond, Trump believes the U.S. can force compliance and reduce illegal presence without increasing border patrols or detention centers. But there's more to the story. The reintroduction of this visa bond rule also comes amid rising diplomatic tensions with countries like India and Nigeria over deportation cooperation and trade disagreements. In other words, the visa bond may not just be a security tool, it might also be a political weapon. Some believe this policy allows the U.S. to apply pressure on foreign governments by making travel harder for their citizens, forcing diplomatic negotiations to go in America's favor. Now, let's address the million-dollar question. Should you be worried? The answer depends. If you're from Malawi or Zambia and you're planning to visit the U.S. under a B1 or B2 visa, you may already be subject to this bond rule. If you're from a country like India, Bangladesh, Nigeria, or Pakistan, this rule doesn't apply to you yet, but it could in the near future. The Biden-era travel waivers are being re-evaluated, and Trump's team has signaled that if they return to full power in 2026, they will expand the visa bond to more countries. Here's what you can do to prepare. First, stay informed. Follow your local U.S. Embassy's website and check the list of countries under the bond program. Second, strengthen your visa application. Show strong ties to your home country, like a stable job, family obligations, or property ownership. These factors reduce your risk profile and can help you avoid the bond requirement. Third, prepare financially. If you suspect you may be subject to the bond, factor that cost into your travel budget. And finally, share your story. If you or someone you know has been affected by this rule, speak up. Lawmakers, journalists, and advocacy groups need to hear from real people. In conclusion, the $15,000 visa bond rule is more than just a new immigration policy. It's a reflection of where U.S. politics is heading. On one hand, it's being promoted as a tool for security and accountability. On the other hand, it's being criticized as discriminatory, unnecessary, and financially burdensome. As the debate continues and the program expands, one thing is clear. The way people visit the United States is changing, and fast. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We cover immigration news, visa policy changes, and global travel rules with real facts and real analysis. Drop a comment below. Do you support this bond rule, or do you think it's unfair? Let's start the conversation. Until next time, stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe.